Hello and welcome to Hero Life. Today we have a really special guest. His name is Oz, and Oz, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for taking time out of the day. I know you're a busy man.
No worries. Thanks, Paul. I'm really excited to be here and honestly really pumped just to share my journey with you guys.
Look, in many ways, you are the exact hero, person that has experiences the challenges of life, what it's like to experience busy life as a business owner, as a busy father, and being able to understand how to make changes in your health, wellness, not just in your physical life, but also in your mental and emotional existence, to be able to identify time that didn't actually you didn't know existed previous to this program. So basically, I just wanted to take you through the origins of where you were at before you started this program, and really just kind of take you back to the start, when we had that phone call. And I remember exactly where I was. I was at my parents-in-law's place. I was living there because we were doing a reno in our house. And I remember the impact that you had on me, and the conversation that we had, and the connection that we had. And take us all back to the challenges that you were experiencing back then.
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess just before we met, I was in a pretty dark place, physically, mentally, with the lockdowns in Melbourne, just the fact that we hadn't seen our family back in the UK for 2 years. We just had a newborn as well. So we had got two kids. So, as most parents know and new parents know, how hard those first few months are, lack of sleep and you name it. So I think for me, the biggest challenge I felt was just getting past my former self. I'm going to say it's not my former self because I'm a completely different person now. And my former self was very much kind of focused on, I would say, quite self-destruction, right? Like eat loads of food, don't do any exercise because you're making excuses, up in your head. Like I used to kind of had a gym membership I was paying for, never went. And for me, really being a business owner was also kind of the saying that I don't have the time because I've got all these other important things to do, and on top of that, obviously the family too. But I noticed I was getting more and more increasingly sort of unhealthy. My weight kind of had been the biggest it's ever been. I was around 110 kgs, which is pretty big for me and my height. A lot of people couldn't notice it, but I generally wear quite baggy clothes. So, but I noticed that, I felt it. I have asthma, so I can feel myself wheezing more, and so it really had a massive effect. And then even for my mood, as well, with the kids, getting snappier with my wife, and just not looking after myself in all areas. And I think it was breaking point, if I'm honest with you. And I saw the Instagram ad come up. I was like, I've got to do this. I've got to try something. And I really loved, I think there was a testimonial from someone that I read, and I was just like, this person sounds so genuine. And these guys don't seem like they're just PTs. They're kind of change agents for people. And I think that's what really resonated with me.
Thank you for sharing that. And it's your openness and vulnerability that's allowed you to open that door to change, and you're living proof of it. I mean, you have now dropped, not that weight is everything by any stretch of the imagination, but I believe you're up, can refresh my memory, is it 20?
I think it's about 23, 24 kgs.
23, 24 kilograms. You're literally a new person inside and out. And, I had the pleasure of participating in a professional workshop for your company, and to be able to see the inspiration that you've been able to actually deliver to the team that you run there as well. Like, they were just in awe of, because we're living in this strange holding pattern in Melbourne right now, where no one's really gone into the office, and these people have had the opportunity to really just see this transformation within you, and that inspires change in everybody around you. Tell me a little bit about, once you stepped into the program, what impact did that not just have on yourself, but on your family?
Like life-changing. I always I message obviously yourself and Dan all the time around kind of how much you guys have changed my life. is that you really have. You know, my wife hasn't seen me this healthy in the years that we've known each other, you know, to the point where she has been inspired and she's doing exercise when I'm out and I'm going for my run, she's exercising. And so she has more energy for the kids and, you know, my children as well. Like I've been mindful in terms of spending time consciously with them versus getting sort of frustrated and kicking off for no reason, or, you know, just, you know, you get the stresses and strains of day-to-day life in lockdown. And but yeah, like I think that's the biggest change has been the mentality. Forget the physical, it's the mentality, and what that's done in terms of the choices we make around nutrition, but also the choices we make around just everyday conscious living. And that's also the spiritual side as well, right? So it's something that has affected all aspects of my life. And I never thought it would. I just, again, initially went in with, I'm right at the lowest point. What can I do to kind of, you know, help myself move forward? But you guys have almost kind of given me that accountability to look at myself and say, what's important to me? What do I kind of, you know, want to leave behind for my family, but also inspire them while I'm here? And I think that's the biggest thing for me.
That's beautiful, man. And it's unavoidable in a way. Once you start raising the vibrational levels of a certain department of your life, it tends to bleed into other departments of your life. And you can't help but address these other aspects. And it's been a beautiful kind of, you know, existence to just witness you re-emerge and reintegrate that spiritual side of your lifestyle as well, which has been just wonderful. And it's interesting that you say, you know, you were at almost at rock bottom before you made a change and you decided to pick up that phone or book that call, because so many people are in that position. And I find it interesting, but I don't find it surprising, because we find ourselves in this kind of survival pattern, and it's really difficult to remove yourself out of that cycle. And I think what you've been able to do is interrupt that survival cycle that you found yourself in so often. And what you were able to do is kind of catch yourself from time to time. Take us back to the time where, you know, you just got started and you found yourself kind of leaning towards, you know, eating for instant gratification, and that transition into trying to think a little bit more long term to be able to give to yourself.
I think it was hard. Don't get me wrong. Like the binge eating was a standard in this household. My wife has been blessed with an amazing metabolism where she can eat as much as me and more, right? And stay slim and small. Whereas, you know, my metabolism is different, right? So I think for me, you know, keeping up with that was really hard over the years. And as age hits you and kind of things slow down, you know, I think that was the biggest challenge. But I think what ended up happening as part of this process was to almost that accountability, right? So it's almost like, I remember there was the things that I love the most, right? I like crisps or chips, the big bags, right? In the UK, you only have like tiny little bags, right? So you might eat one or two and that's it. Whereas here, give me the whole thing and I'll kill it. so like those chips, it was burgers, it was, you know, ice cream, you name it, right? But I think the thing this program helped me think about is that it's not about just cutting it out. It's not that cutting it out at all necessarily. It's more, how do you reframe when you're going to have these things and celebrate when you do have them? So like on my birthday, you know, I sent you guys pictures of the birthday meal we had. It was amazing. I love fried chicken, so fried chicken was on the menu. But it doesn't mean you have fried chicken every night, right? And that was where the change kind of came in and made me accountable around when I should enjoy these things and when I should put in the work. And I think that's what for me was really important, is like putting in the work.
That's great. And what I actually noticed is in our guidance throughout the program is when you consciously chose those times to enjoy those foods, you were actually enjoying them, as opposed to night in, night out, just getting into this habitual cycle that is unconscious and not enjoying it, but just like kind of going through the motions.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, I have my moments, right? There's been times where that happens, you know. There's times where it's almost kind of like you get stressed. I think it happened a few weeks ago, and I just got stressed and was eating things that I not as badly as I used to, but I just, you know, would pick up something just because I'm writing an email and I just need some energy because you're just tired from the kids all day. But yeah, no, definitely. One thing I wanted to actually add as well, which I kind of didn't admit, but kind of missed as part of the original thing that we were discussing, is that this hasn't been easy for me, right? Like you know, I've got back issues, I've got knee issues, you know, exercise in general was never part of my growing up, right? I had a bicycle, so I'd go out and go for rides with my brothers, but that's about it, right? So I guess for me, if I can do it, and I am your epitome of someone who lived a sedentary lifestyle beyond partying in London.
Yep.
If I can do it, then, you know, hopefully I can inspire others who feel like, oh no, I'm not the exercising type, you know. Or, you know, I used to see people running down Bay Road here in Hampton, and before I was meeting you guys, like, no way can I do that. Like, there's no way I can just run and be that guy. Like, I won't survive that. And I remember when I went on my first run, it was so hard. And then, you know, for context, now I'm going for like 2 or 3 runs a week down the bay. I am that person wearing the spandex. No, I'm joking. But you know, I am that person who's you know, running and achieving those goals. So yeah, I think that's the thing where it's pretty powerful for anyone listening, is that, like, yeah, hopefully I can be a testament that anyone can do this, and it's in anyone and everyone.
You're not just a testament, you're an inspiration, and you're not just an inspiration to so many dads out there who have seen what you've been capable of, that you inspire myself and inspire Dan. And you know, every time you send a photo to me, I think about my own lifestyle, and you give me a little bit of that positivity. And I think, you know, it's so important to be able to claim your space in that world. And that's part of, you know, kind of, you know, claiming that space is taking those photos and saying, you know what, I declare to go on these runs. I declare to do something more with myself inside and my health, so I can actually be more available to my family. And mate, you've just been a remarkable, you know, element of transformation. And the cool thing is the journey continues. You know, we just continue to go from strength to strength, and you know, we're stepping into this ascension phase now, which is really exciting. And you know, we had a conversation last week about, you know, what we have been able to do in the past, which is, you know, shed all of this weight. Now we start building you up and start, you know, really, you know, building up that lean muscle and start making your body bulletproof. You said you've had back issues in the past, and whilst they're still somewhat present, I know that they are nowhere near as bad as what they have been in the past. And what we're going to do. And so do you want to just quickly, briefly touch on those back issues and see how that's gone as well?
Yeah, before I met you guys, like I had a ruptured, oh, not a rupture, but like a protrusion in my lower back. So my S1 L5, which is common for most people who are of sort of the sit down work lifestyle. And so, you know, years of bad posture, years of just you know, neglecting sort of my back. And during lockdown, I think the first lockdown, I got sciatica. I've never had that ever in my life, and I just didn't know what it was. Just this really sharp pain down my right leg, to the point where, you know, my chiro at the time, or even the doctor, was just like, stop all exercise. And I think that was what I wanted to hear internally. My bad former self was just like, that's what I need to hear. I'm not doing any more exercise ever again. And I kind of spiraled from there. I think that was the kind of the point. But in any case, over the time working with you guys, and we're not talking, you know, I've gone to PTs and they've kind of given me all sorts of programs and stuff, and it kind of works, but it doesn't work. But the thing that I've really loved from the program that you put together, Paul, is that it's actually made me move. And because it's made me move, I'm not doing, and it's not like hardcore build your back muscles. It's more everyday movement, you know, do a mixture of kind of stretching and you know, core exercises and all the kind of base stuff that you need to do. That's actually made things so much more better for me. I'm waking up and I'm not feeling stiff. Whereas, before all of this, beyond the sciatica, I'd wake up with like the worst back pain. And even when we first joined, do you remember when I first, had those first few sort of weeks with you guys, it remember you checking in saying, how you going? And I'd be like, oh, my back is still a bit funny. But touch wood, thank God, like it's been fantastic. And yeah, again, I've gone from a couch potato to running like 12Ks, right? That's something else within like 3 or 4 months, including the fact that I've got back pain, including the fact that I've had some knee issues as well because of that. So yeah, not saying that anyone listening to this go out and go for a 12K run. What I mean is more, if you consciously want to improve, your physical health, and if you've got any injuries, I think if you can work around it, you can achieve anything.
Absolutely. And I think for you, the key has been, my personal philosophy is motion is lotion. And, for people that do have kind of injuries that have existed for a period of time, there can be this sense of, injury identity that can kind of overwhelm. And if you start slowly, but if you continue in a consistent manner and you keep putting one foot in front of the other day in, day out, all of a sudden that identity starts to shift, and you start to move from somebody who has an injury identity into somebody who is an athlete. And now you are an athlete, and you should have zero, uncomfortability about identifying as that, because you are somebody that moves and grooves in a daily basis, and you move beautifully, and you let me know about it, and you just, I love seeing those photos every evening. So just keep them up. I want to thank you so much for taking the time to share your experience with everybody here, because you are an inspiration and you will continue to be an inspiration. And yeah, mate, like you inspire me every day. So thank you.
No, thanks, Paul, and thank you again. Can't thank you guys enough. Like, if it wasn't for your guidance, Dan's guidance, there's no way I would have been able to do this, right? Like, obviously, it's in everyone in some way, but you need that spark, right? You guys were my spark, so thank you, and you've changed my life. You really have.
Thank you so much, Oz.